So we want to talk about something that's super important, especially when it comes to wanting to be an entrepreneur or running a business or actually growing as a sales professional, sales leader, at some point becoming, I don't know, a VP of sales, becoming a CEO, running your own company. One of the biggest things that I always see when it comes to entrepreneurs, one of the biggest failures and downfalls of every single entrepreneur I personally have come across that I do see and notice a lot is the fact that they don't understand what commitment really means. They think commitment is just a higher level of interest, which means they don't understand the difference between being interested in doing something or actually being 100% committed to it. When you're 100% committed to something, it leaves no room for excuses. You guys have heard this and read this before. It is actually on our boardroom's door that says, be stronger than your excuses. Typically, you either have reasons or results. And believe it or not, reasons never count. Nobody cares about the reasons. And the reason why nobody cares about the reason is because when people care about the results, that means you have something tangible to show for. Which means you have done something, now you have the results, it's tangible, you can physically see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. Your excuses and your reasons, it doesn't exist because you can't feel it, you can't touch it, it's not physical, it doesn't exist. So for that reason, nobody cares about it. Now, over the past few years of us being in business and doing business with some of the biggest financial companies, especially in Canada, such as Home Trust, the biggest mortgage B lender that we've done financing with, I've heard this over and over and over again from every single C executive level in any of these finance companies. You're only as good as your results. That's it. They don't care about what we've done in the past. They don't care about what we're going to do in the future. I've heard this over and over. You're only as good as your results. Exactly, which means nobody really cares about your reasons or excuses. They don't care if it's raining outside or if it's snowing outside. They don't care if it's a pandemic or a fucking epidemic. They don't give a shit about any of that stuff. All they really care about is your results. At the end of the day, they're going to look at their CRM system and see your results. That's all they will really care about. And it's not that I may have not agreed with their opinion at the time because it sounds a little bit impersonal and it sounds like you don't really care about the person and you really care about the results. But at the end of the day, if I wanted to do business with somebody who has that opinion, I better start catering to their opinion. I better start delivering the results. So I realized to just cut down all my excuses and take all the reasons out of it and just start delivering the results. And if I can't deliver the results, just own the responsibility and say I couldn't do it. Next time, I'm going to do better. And just commit to doing better. That's the difference between having results and having excuses. And a lot of people, they have built that habit of just having a lot of reasons, having a lot of excuses, having a lot of complaints. And you guys do see these people around you. You do know these people around you. Even in this office, there are some people that you personally do know that are giving you reasons and excuses rather than delivering the results. And again, not that we don't care about the people in this office. We obviously do care about every single person that crosses paths with our company. But at the same time, we don't care about the reasons. Nobody has time for your reasons, for your excuses, and for the fact that you're not able to deliver. Nobody really wants to focus their time on that. And the fact that you really focus on thinking about a reason or an excuse, that's already time taken away from the fact that you could have put that time towards your results and actually deliver. So it's a lot better to completely cut it down, and you have to develop a habit of doing it. Now, typically, commitment is a continuum, which means there's different levels of commitment. You've got, we drew this continuum here, which is like a line. So it starts with 0% commitment, which means you're not committed to it at all. You don't want to do it. You're not committed. You don't even know the opportunity exists. You don't want to do it. So this is non-commitment completely, right? And then at 50%, you get to the point that it's interesting. You're a little bit interested. You want to give it a shot. You want to try it out. You're interested to see what the opportunity is. You're interested to, try something new. You're kind of interested. You want to test it out. You want to see how it goes if you try it out. You give it a shot, right? So this is interest. And then 100%, you're committed to it, which means you leave absolutely no room for excuses. You really don't care about, raining or snowing or shining outside. You're going to deliver your results one way or another, right? This is commitment. And then you've got this extra 20%. This is where all the successful people are. They are between 100% committed to literally 120% committed. When you're 120% committed to something, that means you will sacrifice anything and everything that you can to make sure you deliver the results. There's a difference between somebody who's just committed to it and somebody who's extremely attached to delivering the results. There's a huge difference between that, because somebody who's committed, that means they're going to want to really deliver the results, but if there's a pandemic, they want to take a day off because they've never dealt with something this big before, and it's this huge excuse that they could use at this point to not deliver results. Somebody who's really, really committed to the results, 120%, they will sacrifice anything and everything to ensure that the results are delivered. And now, I'm not telling you that you have to be committed to us, you have to be committed to yourself. So if you're setting a goal for yourself, you have to be committed to deliver that goal to yourself. Does it make sense, guys? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about your commitment to somebody else. We're talking about your commitment to yourself, because it will affect how you feel about yourself. It will affect your self-image, the level of commitment you have to yourself. So, for example, you set a goal of wanting to make $1,000 a week or $2,000 a week or $3,000 a week. That's a commitment you're making to yourself. And in order for you to deliver that, you have to go all out. You have to literally sacrifice everything else to make sure you're able to deliver that to yourself. And that's the level of commitment we're talking about. But here's the thing. I hear this all the time. Oh, I want to make X amount of dollars. I want to make $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. But the person ends up taking Friday, Saturday, Sundays off. I want to make $1 million in a year, but they start finishing their day at 7 o'clock, at 7 p.m. They want to do they want to get in shape, but you see them at McDonald's all the time. They want to quit smoking while lighting up a cigarette. So there's a huge, at this point, if you want to do business with anybody, if you want to actually grow as an entrepreneur, you got to understand, people can see these things. They say actions speak louder than words, right? So when you come to me, for example, Parsa, if you come to me and you say, I want to make $10,000 a week, and you take Friday and Saturday off, I'm going to notice that. I know you're not committed to it. I know you're not committed to delivering those results. It's easy to see. There's a lot of, talk is cheap. People talk all the time. Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then you really analyze their actions and you know exactly what they're committed to. The person says, I want to quit drinking. And every time you see them, they smell like alcohol. They're committed to drinking. Their level of commitment is not with non-drinking. So that's the way you will be analyzed in the marketplace, in any sort of business. Any sort of business you want to do with anybody, they're going to look at the level of commitment. They can tell easily if you're going to be able to do it or not. You can't fool people anymore. You can't fool yourself either. Because if you're making a commitment to yourself to do something, to deliver a certain level of results, what you're doing is that you're taking out the word try out of the equation. That's another way. This is how we know. This is how I know if people are committed or not. When I ask them to do something, or when they tell me they're going to deliver something to themselves, they always use the word try. I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to make X amount of dollars. I'm going to try to do that. What try basically is that you're giving yourself a little like escape clause in a contract. That I'm going to try, if it doesn't work, I'm not really stuck in it. I didn't box myself in. I didn't commit myself to it. Because people that have commitment issues, that's what it really is. They don't want to commit to it because they're scared that they can't deliver. So they're giving themselves a way out, basically. A way out of that commitment. And when you're giving yourself a way out of a commitment, who are you really serving? Nobody. You're really giving yourself a disservice. That's what you're really doing. And that's what happens when you're giving yourself a way out. So if you're using that word a lot, oh, I will try to do this, I'll try to do that, you got to get it out of the way because you're not 100% committed to it. There's no such thing as trying. If you make a decision to make $2,000, $3,000 a week, you make a decision to make $3,000 a week. That's it. There's no trying. If you make a decision and you're committed to show up to these meetings every single day, then you show up to the meetings every single day. It's either yes or no. There's no gray area. You can't just lean towards the meeting. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to try to show up. What do you mean you're going to try to show up? It's either you do or you don't. Same thing. Making $2,000 a week, $3,000 a week, $500,000 a year, there's no gray area. It's either you do it or you don't. If you're committed to the result, you make an action plan, you start taking action, you make it happen. If you give yourself a way out and you're like, oh, I'm going to try to do it, then guess what? You're not going to do it. 100%. Because there are so many other people out there with a much higher commitment level than you that they will get the results. There will be nothing left for you. So that's the difference between commitment and interest, right? So we know people that use the word try all the time, that are trying all the time, they're going to really deliver maybe 20, 30, 50% of the time. Not all the time. And it will cause a lot of issues in the future, especially in the business world. If you're not able to commit and deliver, you're gonna develop that reputation, especially in the business world, in any sort of entrepreneurship community. If you develop that reputation of not being able to deliver, then you're not reliable. Nobody's gonna want to do business with you because you can't deliver. And believe it or not, we got to where we got. The guys that have been with me for a long time, they know this one thing. They've heard it over and over and over and over from everybody, that the reason why people and the finance companies end up doing business with us long term is because they know one thing. Since day one that I've worked in any company, if I said something, I delivered. If I said I did not say it unless I could deliver it. That's it. So don't talk about it to yourself unless you're going to deliver it to yourself. Because the person you need to serve is yourself, not the company. So that's where it comes into play, where you're setting goals for yourself. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to try to make $500,000 for myself. Guess what? You're not making $500,000 with that attitude. I guarantee you that. There's nobody in this world that you see that became a millionaire by trying to become a millionaire. They committed to it. They wanted to do it. They knew how to do it. That's it. Next, actions and words. Usually people that are not committed, they say a lot of things, but they don't take action. You hear that all the time. Oh, I'll do this, or I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that. Don't worry about it. I'll start tomorrow. I'll start next week. I guarantee you I'm going to deliver. Lots of talk, but not enough deliveries, not enough actions. And what happens is that they develop that bad reputation. They start building really weak relationships with people because they're unreliable. Nobody can really rely on these people because they say a lot of things, but they don't deliver. Talk is cheap. And what you start hearing about those people is like, he talks a lot. He talks a lot of shit. If you talk the talk, make sure you can walk the walk too. So don't say it unless you can deliver it. Otherwise, you're just ruining your own reputation. Next, we're going to talk about the consequences of non-commitment to yourself and to other people. One of the biggest problems you're going to have is if you're not able to commit to something, if you haven't developed the habit of committing to certain things at 100% or 120%, one of the problems that's going to arise from that is that you're going to erode your own faith in yourself. You're going to start diminishing your own self-image. You're going to start, your own self-esteem is going to get reduced over time because you keep saying things, but you can't deliver them. And you start losing your belief in yourself completely. You will lose your belief in yourself completely. You will lose your self-esteem completely because you start realizing you say a lot of things, but you're not able to deliver. And you start losing your faith in yourself. That, you know what? I just can't deliver anything. I just can't do anything. And that causes a lot of problems internally. And we all know in the world of business, entrepreneurship, and sales as a professionalism, there's a problem. There's a huge problem when that happens. Because if you lose your self-esteem, if you lose your confidence, if you lose your self-belief, you have nothing. You literally have nothing. Especially as a business owner, especially as an entrepreneur, if you don't have those specific behaviors and emotions created within yourself, those empowering emotions that you need to have, like confidence, if you don't have those, you're not going far in business. I guarantee you that. So that's one of the biggest problems you're going to face if you're not committing to certain things, if you're not able to deliver results, and all people hear from you is excuses and reasons and excuses and reasons, no matter how good they are.